What's the most disrespectful thing a guest ever did in your home? Had our brother-in-law over to do some work on the plumbing. He is very handy and a skilled contractor, but his career has been derailed by drinking. 4 DUIs in 3 years. In a hoe. He heads down to the basement and after about an hour he comes up and tells us he is done and heads on out. We paid him before the job. And after he left we went downstairs to check his work. Not only did he not do anything, but he drank 3 bottles of wine we had been saving for our anniversary that were pretty much irreplicable. Did I mention he was 35 years old and my wife's brother? Someone stole my wife's camera at a party. It was a big party. But we knew all of the guests. One of our friends is a thief. Losing the camera hurt less than finding out we couldn't trust our friends. Edit. Turns out we here at Reddit have some effing untrustworthy friends and relatives. Damn. My younger cousin stole my phone at Easter. Not like haha I'm taking your phone away and playing games on it and won't give it back, but like I know you took it. Give it back or we'll call the police, and he denied having it so we called the police. He also stole my aunt's wallet. And this was actually at her house. We don't invite him to family functions anymore. Slightly obese neighbor randomly shows up at front door looking panicked. He asks if he could use the restroom, so of course I said yes. Well, 30 minutes later he finishes up, thanks me and leaves. I check the restroom and it looks like a war zone. Magazines were scattered everywhere. Toilet paper on the ground. And the smell. I'll never forget the smell. Imagine you kill someone, eat their rotting corpse, and then head over to your neighbor's house and take a shit in their toilet. But that's not the ducked up part. I then proceed to watch him pull out of my driveway, down the street and then into his own driveway, then walk into his own house. WTF was he thinking? I don't think you can get much more disrespectful than that. My sister-in-law decided to use my house as a pit stop once when we were away for a weekend. Ducked her boyfriend, or someone else, on our guest bed. Didn't clean the sheets. Visible crusted cum on the sheets. And I think on my couch in the basement as well. Condoms, unopened, laying all around the room like presents for my kids to find. Put her takeout in a dresser drawer. So like a bonus when her omelette went rancid a day or two later and we opened the door, we got a special smelly gift. My buddy drank about 10 shots of vodka and washed it down with a bag of gummy worms and a few donuts. He soon passed out sitting up on my couch with his head tilted back. Within 10 minutes he was spewing vomit like a fountain into the air all over himself, so I ran over to him and guided him outside where he coated my patio with puke. At this time I was really squeamish with puke, so I gave him a roll of paper towels to get some of it off my table. He takes the whole roll in hand and uses it as a squeegee to scrape it onto the carpet before he slinks down into the vomit encrusted couch to go back to sleep. We're still best friends. Ran around the place like possessed. Knocking over furniture. Pulled out a number of books from the shelf right onto the floor. Shat under my bed. Bid me exclamation point. Then fell asleep all over the couch. I swear. If he hadn't been a cat I'd be livid. A few years ago at my birthday party, this guy showed up with 4 of his male friends. None of them brought any alcohol. I should have just not let them in until they came back with some beer, but I was in a good mood and didn't want to be a big dick about it. They proceeded to complain that the party was a sausage fest and there wasn't enough booze. It's almost like a group of 5 dudes showed up empty-handed and left after about an hour. But then I discovered the worst part. My friend had bought me a bottle of delirium tremens as a birthday present. That's about a $12 bottle of beer, which I was saving for midnight since that was when my birthday technically started. And one member of the douche brigade had opened it, taken a couple sips and left it on the kitchen counter. I would have been less pissed if he at least drank the whole thing so somebody could enjoy it. But instead I had to just pour it out because those guys probably had mouth herpes. I had a friend that stole my grandpa's pain medication while my friend was living with us rent-free. We're no longer friends. This isn't gross like some of the others, but my flatmate has a guest staying with us, and yesterday he came into the living room where I was watching a TV show. Sat down. and then asked me to turn down the TV so he could make a phone call. I was having a small social gathering in my house. Few good friends and a couple of their friends. I knew we'd all end up drunk, so I put my expensive guitar in its hard case and hid it in my cupboard. Anyway, a while later one of my friend's drunker's friends somehow discovers it. Runs in the living room swinging it about, pretending to be a rock star of sorts, knocking the headstock and other parts of the body off the wall. Unintentionally, of course. He was just a drunken asshole. But still. The next day I realized there was dents. Missing chips of paint and scratches all over it. Never saw him again after that. My ex invited a friend of his to hang out for a few days. Well, a few days turned into over a week. During that time, the friend left used tissues on every surface. It was disgusting. He'd also leave empty beer bottles wherever he finished the beer. I found bottles in the shower, behind the toilet, on windowsills. I finally had enough and threw him out late one night after he tried to take the remote away from me because what I wanted to watch was stupid. I don't even remember what I was watching. But it's my house. My TV. And I paid for the damn cable. GTFO. Invited a bunch of friends for my birthday when I was 8. Everyone went downstairs to eat the cake except one guy. I went back upstairs to go and fetch him and saw the methodica searching in the box where I had all my games. He told me he was just looking if I had any game he could borrow. Which was fine by me if he asked. I told him to come down. Thinking nothing of it. Sure as hell that night I couldn't find my favorite game. Pokemon Silver, still the best one imo. Told my parents. They told his mom, who was spoiling him, and told us that her little angel would never do something like that. It's been almost 12 years and I still despise the little sheet. Karma strikes back because he's now a dumb methodica with no education. Doing sheet terrible paying jobs. Edit, word. I was off fighting in the war. And I was gone for a while due to a whole lot of complications getting home. But when I finally did get home, there were a whole bunch of dudes there who had been effectively camping in my house for years because they wanted to marry my wife. So I held them all. Invite other people that I didn't really know over without asking me if it was okay. One of my good friends always does this. For a while, Miso and I were the only ones in our friend group who moved out on our own. And so our buddies always thought it was adorable to just bring randos over. Roommate's friend came to visit and left meth dust all over my bathroom counter after tweaking the dugout one weekend. Moved out the next month. Duck in tweakers. It could have been possible that your roommate didn't know about it. I had a friend that used to do coke and didn't tell me about it. I only found out after he kept going to the bathroom in the bar and I heard him sniffing in the bathroom stall. Haha, got a few. All from my mother-in-law. 1. At my older daughter's birthday party, told all the guests that our younger daughter was not my husband's child. And was the product of an affair. I've never cheated. 2. Stole clothes from my older daughter's closet. Same party. Stole from her. On her birthday. During her party. 3. After one of Mike's sections she stole my Percocets. When I confronted her she said that her headache was far worse than my little scratch and she needed more. She stole 7 of them. 4. Denies that our older daughter is autistic. Doesn't follow house rules. Repeatedly aggravating my daughter to the point of self-harm. 5. When allowed to visit has the gonads to ask why we never let her visit. This is back in 97. Allowed a friend who was going to be homeless move into my house. Use my computer to chat on Merc with chicks. And then after about 3 months I found child porn on my computer. Destroyed my computer and then destroyed his face. Haven't talked to him since, but from what I hear from other people he still can't see correctly out of left eye. Sounds similar to the story of a guy I knew in the military. He went on vacation for a week. A week or so after he gets back in town, he gets nabbed by the FBI. They sit him in an interrogation room and start throwing pictures of naked kids at him and asking a bunch of questions. He eventually finds out that his computer had been used to download CP. But it had happened while he was out of town. His roommate had been using his computer. The agents told him afterward that they hadn't thought it was him from pretty much from the beginning because he had no clue what was going on. And had a complete WTF reaction to all of the pictures. His roommate got locked up. 2. I was a bad guest once. New Year's Eve 2010. Puked in a wicker basket at my friend's nice cottage. Puking in that basket made the mess 10 times worse. Brought a bunch of random people over to a party at my house. He didn't know any of them. He just wanted to hook up. Ditched them at the party once he figured out these random girls weren't going to put out for him. These girls proceeded to absolutely destroy my bedroom and bathroom. As well as steal all the shampoo, soap, and toilet paper. One of these high-class broads shit in the bathroom sink. When I was 5, my family lived in Indiana for a couple years. We traveled a lot because of my dad's occupation, so every now and then when we'd go as a family we would need someone to house sit. Naturally, when you move a lot it's hard to have people you know really well to watch over everything you own. I didn't know the people my parents asked to watch the house. I was only 5. But all I remember was when we got home and opened the door. The best way to describe it was it looked like we got robbed. Drawers in the kitchen were open and dishes were everywhere. Couch cushions were soiled. The bathroom. Oh god, the bathroom. But the thing I remember the most was some of my toys were broken. My brand new N64 had played or jammed in it. And my favorite picture of me and my dad that I kept by my bed was covered in Sharpie. Never saw that family again. But the memory still makes me rage to this day. As soon as I let them in, they ran all over my apartment looking at everything. In closets. In my bedroom. It was horrible. That wasn't a guest. That was the police. Still. Jerks. My roommate and I dated on and off. During one off period, she started seeing this sort of white trash, misogynistic gangster with a bad case of little man aggression. Let's call him Pimple Pimp Dart. She had plans with him and he came over early, so she was still getting ready. Several of my fans were hanging out and Pimple Pimp decided to play to the audience by badmouthing my roommate's tears. After about 5 minutes of Pimple Pimp calling my roommate a stupid whore in various ways, my friends and I physically threw him out. We then told my roommate she needed to put on a dress since we were going to take her out someplace nice to celebrate her breaking up with Pimple Pimp. TLDR, roommate's boyfriend came over and called her a stupid whore for 5 minutes. My high school graduation party. Had a bunch of friends drinking, having a good time. One friend invites his cousin who claims to be in porn. Guy is all kinds of douche-up. My sister gets hammered and goes to sleep in the spare bedroom. I notice the guy went missing. I didn't trust him and thought he might steal from me. I walk into the dark spare bedroom and find the piece of sheet groping my passed out sister. I walked into the kitchen and grabbed a large knife. Walked back into the room as my sister was waking up and freaking out. Put the knife to his throat and told him to get out and not come back. Rest of the party was a blast. We had a really big Thanksgiving at our house for the first and last time a few years ago. Naturally, all the little kids were sent upstairs to play. My siblings and I had shut our bedroom doors. The kids were given our big living room to play in and stuff. But, like an hour later, someone goes up to get the little kids for dinner. And there was a ton of my acrylic paint all over the wall and the couch. Now, this was not your regular $1 a bottle paint. This was good paint that I had saved a lot for. The paint that was not all over the walls had gotten mixed together and destroyed. Now, if that was not enough, the lady, who I think was my dad's cousin, not sure, did not tell us what happened at all. So, we did not find out till after dinner. Once we asked if someone knew. She said, "Oh, I did not want to ruin Thanksgiving." We ended up having to get rid of the couch, which was pretty much brand new. Paint over the wall some 3 times. And my paint was ruined. The paint was the smallest tragedy. We are still bothered that she did not even apologize for what happened. It was her daughter and son that did it. One of my friends from a few years ago was sleeping over. He was lying in the guest bed next to mine and having a casual wank on webcam with some girl. He wasn't even covering up with the blanket. Edit. Spelling. Hosted 3 girls from a satellite office of the company I used to work for. They stole the horseshoe ring my mom got me for my bat mitzvah and one of my roommate's gold earrings that had belonged to her grandmother. Could never prove it and never got the jewelry back. A dude smoked meth, crack, from a light bulb during a house party in college. Right in the kitchen. Honestly man. Just go to the bathroom to do hard drugas like a normal person. Took my liquor and filled my ice trays with it. Wasted my liquor and my beverages were not chilled to my liking. My kid brother's friend slept over and claimed that he just had the best breakfast he'd ever had in his life. His mom calls the next day asking why her child was complaining that we starved him. WTF? I had a friend over for dinner. I just had my garage doors painted. She comes in and says, "Ugh. Did you paint the doors that color on purpose?" So I'm making dinner and she says, "Oh. Man. I don't feel like that. I'll just run out and get something. And for dessert." She turns her nose up and says, "That doesn't sound very good. You might like it though." So she hasn't been invited for dinner again. Puked in my sink. All over my dishes. Was this an ad about 14 years ago? If so, I'm sincerely sorry. I drank too much and someone was in the bathroom. It was the sink or your floor. So we meet again. A few years ago, my mom had a friend over for coffee and she brought her kids. I don't fault the friend for this because I don't think her kids were usually this wild. But her youngest daughter cut up the film of our Tarzan VHS tape with a scissors. She also sat on my younger brother's remote control airplane by accident. They don't visit us anymore. My whole family were bundled up in my house enjoying ourselves. Patiently waiting for 12 AM so we can say to each other, "Merry Christmas." It's about 10 PM when my cousin shows up. We'll call him Joe. Joe is known for being an idiot. He goes up to his mom and says, "What are you doing here?" His mom says that she's with her family or something like that. Joe demands she leaves to come with him to take care of something but she refuses and says she wants to finish eating. So he gets his mom's soup and just throws it all over the floor and says, "We're leaving right now." Eventually my uncle takes care of him by telling him to get the hell out. And that was that. Lesson here is don't throw other people's soup while you're in a guest's house. TLDR, enjoying Christmas Eve. Big Dick cousin throws soup all over the floor because he wants his mom to leave. I invited a friend and her husband over to the pool in my apartment complex. There were 2 attractive girls in the pool with us. We're all just drinking beer and having a good time. My friend's husband went inside to use my bathroom. 45 minutes later, we were wondering where he was and decided to go inside. Walked in on him jerking off to Latina mother-daughter porn on my boyfriend's computer. Yes. Sincerely tell me to shut the duck up because they didn't like that their reasoning was being destroyed in a discussion. Followed by acting as though I should have nothing to say in return. Threw the silly hunt out in the rain. This silly hunt was my younger sister. In short, my family is full of close-minded, disrespectful sheetheads. The one that pisses me off the most is sneaking food from me. Just ducking ask. If I say yes, go for it. Normally I don't mind and will even offer you some food. But if I say no, it means ducking no. It's infuriating when people aren't even ducking subtle about it. "Oh, that awesome expensive chocolate your boss got you? Lol, I opened it and ate half of it. Oh. And I also ate the rest of your cookies and put the empty container back in your cabinet. Lol." But the worst part about it all is when you go over to their house and they won't even let you have so much as a ducking handful of animal crackers. Even though every ducking time they come to your house you let them have some of your food or buy them a bit of fast food.